Good evening, everybody, and welcome to Road Atlanta for the latest round in the Radical Esports Cup here on iRacing. It's Season 3 of 2026, and it's already getting towards the halfway mark of the season. We crossed the 1/3 mark last week at Imola. It's another difficult racetrack, technical racetrack for us tonight. Myself, Ian O'Leary, J.R. Gregory in commentary with you. With Ramil Augustin sitting house behind the cameras of this RaceSpotTV and iRacing broadcast here tonight. Good to have you alongside again, JR. Road Atlanta is one of the best circuits in America, I would say. I know there's already been a bit of discussion about that in the chat, about whether it actually is the top of the top in this country, but it's certainly up there. It's one of the best, and I think it will suit these radicals well as well.
It is a fantastic racetrack, and I have a lot of laps out here in a wide variety of cars. The Radical SR10 handles this track extremely well, so we're going to see some great racing. We're going to see some foot to the floor action through turn one, and we're going to see some heavy drafting down the back straight. And don't look away, because it is going to be nonstop here for the entirety of this one.
Yes, well balanced, I think, much like last week at Imola as well. Road Atlanta is round 5. Then we're off to a Grand Prix circuit for the last time until the final round of the season next week at Silverstone. And then we're into the second half of the season, starting with Willow Springs, which is going to be a bit of an odd one to go to. Haven't been there too often in the history of the Radical Esports Cup, but that's where we'll be going on the 31st of July. So a lot to look forward to in the next few weeks. We're obviously live every Friday evening with these broadcasts through the iRacing seasons. In terms of the standings, in the officials, Brandon Hawkin is leading by a very long way. Now, after only 4 weeks, every single week has counted towards these standings so far, so it's a little bit odd to look at, if you like, and a little bit difficult to work out. But we do know for sure that Brandon Hawkins having a magnificent season. 144 points in front of Jake Williams, who's only just in front of Kjetil Larsen and Peter Eveny. James Barry just a little bit further back there in 5th. Then a big jump back to Ole Gulliksen, who's in 6th in front of Max Davies, Heinz Braun. Then another jump to Harvard Gulliksen, who's ahead of Bruno Vittorino, rounding out the top 10. In the RaceSpotTV standings, that's made up of the races on Friday nights we cover here. Brandon Hawkin is running away with it. He's only not won one race, and that was at Road America, where he was second. Jake Williams is in second place in the standings, 61, ahead of Peter Eveny. James Barry and Kjetil Larsen then rounding out the top 5 in front of Max Davies, Harvard Gulliksen, Andre Castro, who's in our top 10, but not the official ones. Same for Diego Perez. Heinz Braun rounds out the top 10 there in 10th position, with 2 top 10s in our Friday night races to his name so far this season. Both standings in iRacing and our ones show that Brandon Hawkin has been the one to beat so far this season. But we've heard week after week, actually in the months gone past, Andre Castro coming in and telling us, I really wish someone was a bit closer to me to challenge me and really have a good race. Well, he's certainly got that now. I mean, he was outclassed at Imola last week, and you don't say that very often about Andre Castro. He has taken the pole here, it looks like, though, by 17 thousandths of a second. But Peter Eveny and Jake Williams are also within a 10th of Castro's time on the top there. It's a very close qualifying session, but Castro has got exactly what he wanted here. Close competition in the Radical Esports Cup.
Yeah, he absolutely has, and a little weird to see Castro as low as he is in the official standings, but as you said, only 4 weeks in a 12-week season, 8 count, so all 4 of those could potentially be drops, and Andre's schedule busy with driving touring cars in real life, so he's missed a couple of these, but it is way too early to count out Castro, and as you said, he has thrown down the gauntlet with a 1:15.2 around here. Very, very fast at Road Atlanta to take the provisional pole. Still a couple cars out there, but Castro showed up to get some work done today, and so far so good for fans of Andre Castro.
Yeah, indeed. Most of the times have already come through, unfortunately, because this is such a short lap. Most of the qualifying happens very early on in the session. There are still a few out there. By the way, it's a very big field today. 20 in the field. We haven't seen this big of a field for some time. So some more unusual names, ones we don't normally see. And some returning names, actually, from we haven't seen too recently. Rudolf Nagel, for example, in 6th place, haven't seen for a while in one of these, but he's here. Jared Tunkovic has managed to make it on a Friday. We often see him on a Sunday in the Radical Sim Racing America's Championship, which, by the way, returns this Sunday night. I'm sure we'll see Jared in that one. Solly Retinen's here as well. Don't know if he's been here this season. He's certainly not in the top 10 of our standings and hasn't had a top 10 in this season yet in our Friday night races. Here's Girivini just is that Rob Woodward, sorry, in the pink. He goes over the line and doesn't seem to improve there. In fact, that lap didn't count. It was a slight improvement and it would have got him to 14th, but it does not count. As I said before, this is a circuit that's, I think, well balanced, much like Imola, really. There's a long back straight here, it's the front straight at Imola, and there's some technical corners in between times. So you can get out the slipstream and so on if you're fast enough, but it is tricky. Here's the full grid for you before we talk about that. Andre Castro, the pole sitter, 17 thousandths in front of Brandon Hawkin. Peter Ivany and Jake Williams also within a tenth of that pole. James Barry then a bit of a gap back to him in fifth, ahead of Rudolf Nagel, who is returning to the series. Paki Caruso and Ketil Larsen then on row 4. There's Jarek Dunkovic and Heinz Braun then rounding out the top 10. Sully Redson and Max Davies then on row 6. Christopher Yanakis and Juan Perez then on row 7. Ahead of the final drivers within a second of the pole. That's Robert Woodward and Ole Henrik Gulliksen. Chris Gretz over a second off in 17th in front of Ryan Stringer. 19th place goes to Pedro Temeladari, sorry, one of the new names, as is Fabrizio Rivera, who didn't get a time in there. It is a big field here, and it's going to be a very heads-up start, really, for everybody, because it's pretty narrow here through the opening section especially.
Yeah, very, very tough. And remember, no traction control on these cars, no ABS either. And these cars will be coming off of a standing start. It can be difficult to get them moving. And we're going to see some side-by-side action into turn 1 on the first lap for sure. And these cars have so much downforce, so much mechanical grip. There's actually multiple lines through turn 1. If you're a GT3 driver like me, that sounds impossible. But these radicals haul up that hill, just a slight lift on the throttle to load up the nose, get it turned in, and then it's hammered down up the hill before you have to reel it in for turn 3. So Road Atlanta, absolute masterpiece of race courses, and we're going to get a great one here today.
Yeah, we certainly are. It is going to be a battle, it seems, between Andre Castro and Brandon Hawkin, with some others as well, for the next 20 laps. That's what we've got here tonight at Road Atlanta, one of the shorter racetracks of this season. I think only a few others like Lime Rock and so on are going to be topping this one for being such short racetracks. Still missing 8th and 9th, Ketil Larsen and Jarek Dunkovic in the background. You can see there the gap, a little bit hard to see from this angle, but they're the first ones really you have to line up round the corner here. Sort of if you go back to 20th place or so, the likes of Fabrizio Rivera, for example, in 20th, starting a long, long way back, almost down the hill on the way out of that final chicane. Well, Dunkovic is there, as is everybody else. 20 drivers in the Radical Esports Cup tonight, ready to go racing. We are underway, and it's a good start from Hawkin on the outside, but he can't quite get alongside Andre Castro. In fact, he has to pull across there, the 4 of Peter Ivany in towards turn 1 to try and even hold on to second place. Ivany round the outside is not going to get much look out there. It's 3 wide, meantime, for 4th place. Goodness me! Jake Williams gets touched there over the top of the hill, and he goes spinning wildly into the pack. Oh my goodness! The top 2 are going to be clear of the field here. It was 3 wide for 3rd position. Jake Williams just ever so slightly touched. They're still crashing down the hill there. And the top 2 have raced away from the others after a big crash over the top of the hill.
Oh my goodness, and James Barry lining up at the buffet table to pick up the pieces from that incident as we saw Williams spinning over turn 3, goes through a couple of cars, picks up the 7-10 split, and it is now Castro versus Hawkin, and this is exactly what both of these drivers wanted, a huge slipstream here. You see Barry there in the background trying to break that draft, but look at that gap from Hawkin back to Barry, almost 4 seconds now, and that is almost insurmountable for Barry unless these two start scrapping. And you know what? We've watched them, Ewan, and they know not to scrap. And here's a replay of Williams going around. Had some help there. I think that may have been Ivany there with the tap.
We'll try and see it again, but I think it was. I mean, Jake Williams unfortunately having to come down pit lane. Paki Caruso's got a black flag as he comes into pit lane, presumably to repair some damage. Sully Redson on his return is in pit lane as well. Christopher Yanakis is a long way off the back of the pack. I wonder whether he's had trouble here. Ole Gulliksen now losing places. He must have had trouble here. This is what happened down the hill, by the way, afterwards. And it's the it's the tennis Sully Retzinen who initially avoided by going down that escape road just off of turn 3 there. And as everybody's coming past on the actual racetrack, they're not looking to the left to see who's coming. And there's contact down the hill, more crashing. So, I mean, I said it's a narrow first sector here, and there's always likely to be drama, but that is one of the more lively opening laps we've seen and will see probably this season. As Brandon Hawkins closes on Andre Castro again. You mentioned these two will be fighting out amongst themselves unless they fight. Well, Brandon Hawkins in control of that, and he's especially not fighting with Andre Castro at the moment.
Yeah, best for both of them to drive off. Barry has not been able to bring that gap down at all. It's hovering just beneath 4 seconds. And my goodness, that re-entry by Reitinen is not going to make him popular among the rest of the field coming off of that escape road. Good to take it to avoid, but you have to pay attention to what's going on when you pull back in. You saw the consequences right there. And look at Castro and Hawken lighting the wick here already in the 1:15. So these guys are ready to drive off and take their fight towards the end of the race. Only 3 down here, 17 to go, and these two are just going to put down some hot laps for quite some time, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I mean, Barry's only going to be able to match them at best. He did a 15.8 himself that time round. His job really is to try and pull away in that 3rd position rather than catch the others 2 up front there. But I think look at him in the background there, really weaving around as Hawkins almost having to push Castro towards the chicane this time round. Barry is trying to break the slipstream. He might have just about done it now. Weaving a little bit, trying to get Larson to struggle to stay in the slipstream there. As Woodward and Braun go side by side. That's Heinz Braun getting up to 8th place again. See in the background there, Barry might just about have done enough now, but that battle for 3rd is almost a look at what could have been for the race lead here. I mentioned it earlier, but you can very much stay in the draft around here at Road Atlanta and make this a very close race indeed.
Yeah, you absolutely can, and the draft radius of this car probably around 0.8 or 0.9, and as you said, Barry doing a good job creating separation behind. He's dropped Larson now to the tune of about 1.5 seconds, so he is clear of giving Larson a tow, and now we're just looking at that gap ahead, 3.5. He's taken a couple of ticks out, has Barry.
Oh!
So,
sorry.
Go ahead.
There was contact on the way towards turn 6 there, and Heinz Braun was pointed directly to the wall. You can see on the bottom of your screen, Kjetil Larsen's already had trouble. That I think was unrelated. There's been a lot of trouble down the back of the field there, I'm afraid, or I should say in the midfield. And look at the gap it's given James Barry here. He's away with 3rd. Max Davies now the one in 4th who's leading the charge behind. But there's been some attrition in this race already. And it looks like we might have just seen a little bit more. Just in that slight bend in the road there towards turn 6. There was a little bit of side-to-side contact, I think, involving Heinz Braun, although he seems to have gotten away with it. He's still running in 7th. And we'll try and look through some replays and see what's happened there. Chris Retz is also dropping a few places in these last few moments. So, yeah, only 4 laps down. As I say, only, 20% the way through this race. But, goodness, we've already seen some drama. So this is what happened to Larson. He must have got clipped on the way towards turn 5 because his rear right. And there you see at the bottom of your screen, Heinz Braun somehow avoids the wall out of all of that. Not really sure how. A flash of the lights there from somebody who is in trouble because of that. I can't actually see who that is. This is what happened to Larson. And he just got hit there. It's a slight bit of contact, but that seems to have blown the rear right or broken the rear right suspension. And then look what happens here. Braun and this other mystery driver, might be Yanakis, although I thought he was already off, to be honest. Flashes the lights, they make contact towards turn 6. It's a right mess through the middle sector there.
Boy, it really is, and I think that was Yanakis in that kind of Barney paint scheme there with the purple and the green, but we have massive attrition up front, and that attrition has led to some huge moves. Look at Robert Woodward right now, sitting up 8, running in P7. If he can hang on to that, that'll be one of his best finishes of the season. Max Davies as well, sitting in P4, is up 8. So all kinds of kerfufflage going on here at Road Atlanta that we normally don't see that out of this group, but some rough stuff here early.
Look at the amount of positions changed there. I can't remember the last time we saw so many in a race. Max Davies into the top 5 from outside the top 10. Woodward up from 15th into 7th. Even knee down from 3rd to 9th. And obviously the guys at the back having big trouble, likes of Caruso Williams, the biggest ones going down. They're pretty much as good as out of this race here. Nate Williams, of course, 2nd place in the iRacing and RaceSpot standings, so we're losing significant points on that. And the reason being, of course, because this is week on week, the highest SOF of the week. This is the big race for these guys. If you want to win the championship, you need to be going well on the Friday nights, and so that's why this can be especially damaging for Jake Williams. As you mentioned, only 8 of the 12 weeks count, but you don't want to be just giving away these weeks early on in case you have bad weeks late on in the season when you're needing results. So Williams won't be pleased about this, because he's barely going to get anything out of this race now.
Yeah, and Williams definitely not going to be happy about this, especially when he had pace. I think he started in either 4th or 5th, and at Road Atlanta, if you're within spitting distance of P1 down the stretch, we've definitely seen 2 firsts coming off of that back straight. You can move up very quickly using the slipstream when crunch time comes around. So Williams not at all happy about how this one has unfolded. As you said, high points up for grabs here, highest SOF of the week here, our broadcast race, 200 plus for sure for the top couple of cars. So a big miss for Williams, as you see Davies pushing through that exit at turn 7, one of the critical corners here on the track. Davies definitely is going to have a run here. What is he going to choose to do with it? Looks like he's going to choose to give Jarrett Dunkovich a little smooch and help him down that back straight and live to fight another day.
Yeah, they might be trying to properly get rid of the others behind, because it's not such a big group behind anymore like it was when James Barry was almost getting himself away from these guys. It's a much more fractured field than that. You see that in the background. Heinz Braun's doing his best to stay with them. As Castro and Hawkins stay as they are, 1st and 2nd. So Braun trying to catch onto those guys. Rudolf Nagel is next in line, but can't quite stay with them. He's only just in front of Woodward and Evany, who are side by side themselves. And Fabrizio Rivera, by the way, who was the very last driver in this field to begin with, is now inside the top 10. Ryan Stringer will be trying to catch up as well. It is busy back here, very, very busy indeed. This is where the real big group is, and it involves some of the big names like Peter Evany, who is rather amazingly really still in this race after that contact with Jake Williams over the top of the hill there.
Yeah, Evany pedaling hard right now. Qualified P3 and now sitting about 6 positions down, and really wanting to get through Woodward. And cheers to Woodward, who did a really good job holding him off there over the top of the hill into turn 3. I would have thought that Evany could dispatch him pretty easily there, but Woodward with some game defense.
Certainly. He's under pressure now, though, from Evany. You'd fancy him as a faster driver here, Peter Evany, but that's not how it quite works in these larger groups like this one. Inside line surely will get in the place now, though, and he sweeps through on the outside as well. And that's Rivera as well, going from one side to the other. And he gets through on Robert Woodward as well in towards the final turn. So that's nicely done. And it's great to see these drives through the field from some of these guys who start down towards the back. And as we joined qualifying, Rivera had a black flag next to his name for some reason in qualifying. I'm not entirely sure how you can pick up one of those in a qualifying session, but anyway, he was forced to start from the back, and is already up to 9th here in this group, further back there. But Andre Castro and Brandon Hawkins still run 1 and 2. They're going to battle it out for this race lead, but the question is when they're going to do that, because for the moment they've well, we've not seen a single pass between these two yet, even though Hawkins has had the chance to. He's decided not to for the last few occasions.
Yeah, Hawkins showing his hand right here. He is going to make his move on lap 20, probably right there into turn 10A. And for the time being, he's willing and happy to stay behind Castro as they continue to extend that lead back to Barry. Now, Hawkins to Barry gap grown almost to 5 seconds now as Castro and Hawkins driving away. But yeah, Hawkins does not want to be in P1 until he crosses, comes out of the final turn on the final lap. And Castro's got to be thinking right now how he is going to defend that entry to turn 10. And that is the key to success and the key to failure here at Road Atlanta. That inside defense in turn 10, how do you overcome it? And we've seen some great moves down there over the years, and we're going to see another one here.
There's the different flags on the show here today, by the way. Lots of people from all over the place today. It's America versus Canada at the front. Lots of Europeans. Also, Chris Wetz is just from iRacing, it seems. He's got no flag next to his name in 13th place. There you are. But out front, Hawking and Castro still as they are. Look at that for 4th place. Dunkovic pulling it right over to the right-hand side. And Max Davies is bump drafting him down the back straight here in towards the final chicane. And he's not attempting to make the move. Their sort of objective of keeping Heinz Braun away from this group hasn't worked, clearly, in this fight for 4th position. He's now caught up as Heinz Braun. He's in this group, but they're still not fighting with each other properly yet, even though we're through the first half of this race now. There is a lot of waiting around. Maybe Braun is going to put an end to that. Max Davies goes to the inside of Dunkovic. He slides straight in front of Dunkovic, and he gets through. Braun very nearly follows and can't quite do it, but that was, wow. That was Davies there, fearing he would lose a place, taking one away from Dunkovic instead.
Yeah, Davies needed to get something done there, as you said. Braun had chipped that interval way down, as you see right there. We'll get in with, I guess that's Dunkovic right now, coming up behind Max Davies. But yeah, Davies needed to pull the trigger, got it done there. And now Braun still has 2 targets in front of him, though, slightly different order. But Braun, no slouch in these cars, and Dunkovic driving in his mirrors right now.
Yeah, certainly. Look at the weaving as well to try and get out of the draft here. It's difficult, but it is possible. And if these two fight properly here, Braun and Dunkovic, then Max Davies could get away. Now, is Dunkovic just going to let Braun go? Not quite. They might well be giving Max Davies a clear path to 4th now with that side-by-side move. I mean, Heinz Braun got through quite easily in the end, but the gap's a second to Max Davies, who might well be in the clear now. He doesn't need to weave around to break the slipstream anymore. He is in the clear in 4th place.
Yeah, Dunkovic there, as you mentioned, one of our U.S. Radical League participants that we'll be showing here on RaceSpotTV on Sunday. But Dunkovic working on his turn 10 racecraft right there. Probably doesn't care a whole lot about the outcome of this one, getting seat time for Sunday. But that turn 10A and 10B is the key to success here at Road Atlanta, as I've said. And Dunkovic doing some experimentation right now.
Yeah. He was flashing the lights at Braun there down towards turn 1 as if to say, I'm not going to try and overtake you, let's get back into line and try and bring Davies back again. See whether that holds as they get down the back straight this time. The leaders are still as they are. We'll keep an eye on them because that will change at some point. But there goes Dunkovic straight to the back of Braun as they go through the right-hander there. It's a little bit dangerous to do that, but Dunkovic was aggressive in the pushing. Almost like a super speedway oval race, but he's gotten him within sort of 6 or 7 tenths of a second now behind Davies. Now what's Evany going to do, because he's now pretty close to Dunkovic, who goes a bit wide there. Nagel is here as well, and they all stay as they are. I wonder whether they have just worked together well enough to bring Davies back now.
Yeah, quite a fight there developing for P5, and Dunkovic right now pushing Braun down the back straight, kind of in a similar position to what we just saw with Evany cranking that gap down. Now Evany wants a bite of this whole situation, and Dunkovic might want to put Braun in between himself and Evany, who is still trying to fight back from that early incident with Jake Williams. And here comes some side-by-side. Oh, just a peek there by Evany on Nagel. Or that's, I'm sorry, that is Rivera and Evany.
And Rivera's in here as well now in 9th place. There's a mistake from Evany there because Nagel is now ahead of him, so he must have gone a bit wide through turn 5 or something. This has just allowed that to happen. Dunkovic not close to Braun here to give him a push, and so they're no closer to Davies this time round. In fact, they're probably further away. It's all on his own here. Braun has got to do this catching at the moment, but there does seem to be a little bit of agreement between these guys in this group behind that they do want to catch up to Max Davies, although Can Dunkovic even stay with Braun? That wasn't a very good exit out the chicane, and this is now going to be a battle for 6th place rather than 4th, because the fight is on for 6th. Dunkovic pulls it over in towards turn 1, defending from Nagel. Even he can't quite get involved, and they get back into single file, but that's going to create a gap that might well not come back either.
And Rivera sniffing around here as well. So quite a pack forming right here on these courses with long straightaways. These cars tend to group up a little bit. You saw that little wiggle out of turn 5. If you're wondering what happened to Evany, it was probably that. And here comes Evany down the middle, sniffing, looking at Nagel. Can't quite get it done. But Evany, you can sense the tension building. He wants out of that P8. He qualified in a podium position, had that incident, and hasn't been able to dig back out of it so far.
Well, even he's going to struggle there. Well, I say that he's getting the slipstream and then not getting it again as the weaving continues up ahead of him. He just get it right towards the end, and Nagel just lets him go. So they're back to how they were, these two. Even he back ahead again. Rivera was steaming onto the scene there in 9th place. He's looking to get involved in the next few moments. The next group, by the way, behind these guys is Juan Perez now in 11th in front of Chris Wetz and Ryan Stringer, who are side by side for 12th place at the moment. Chris Wetz has managed to clear off now. You can see that back to single file, Wetz through ahead of Stringer now. And between those two groups, Robert Woodward on his own going on to lap 15. Closing stages here, and still it's this group in the midfield that is providing the entertainment, because the two leaders are still following one another single file.
Yeah, about hitting the 75% mark right now. And again, Håkan happy to follow Castro. We're not going to see anything happen there until lap 20. But for right now, this battle for P5, absolutely nuts. And tip of the hat to Rivera right now, running in P9. He is the hard charger after failing to set a qualifying time, up 11 position. So Rivera storming through the field in that out-of-the-box iRacing Liberty on that SR10.
Yeah, indeed. The default, as it were, the classic towards the chicane. No change this time. Nagel holding Evany back. And maybe this group of 6 being split into 2. We'll wait and see. The front 2 still as they are. Andre Castro and Brandon Hawkin still nose to tail. Still not making a move though. Here's Brandon Hawkin. I obviously understand the reasoning for leaving it this late, but he's giving Castro a long time to really work out what Hawkin's trying to do here and try and stop it from happening. Maybe Hawkin will try and come through on the penultimate lap, or something will happen very soon between these two. Or maybe he is just going to leave it for a run all the way down to the chicane on the very last lap and give himself no further chance to get through. But this is still very tactical, and still Hawkin is waiting for his moment.
Yeah, great stuff. I would love to be in the helmets of these two, and hopefully we'll get to chat with one or both of them after this one to see what they're thinking. But Håkan has just been all over Andre Castro for this entire race, and just kind of letting Castro know, you're not going to drive away. I'm going to be right here down the stretch. And Håkan hasn't really done any head fakes, hasn't shown his nose, hasn't really tipped his hand, aside from just showing Castro that he has the pace to be on his bumper come crunch time, which is right around the corner now, about 4 laps to go.
It has split into 2 here, this group of 6. Nagel past Rivera, or rather staying in front of Rivera. Nagel didn't get a very good run through the chicane last time round, and in trying to overtake, even he also slowed himself down, and so Fabrizio Rivera managed to move up into 8th position this time round in front of Peter Evany. So a change in this group here. And up further ahead, you saw the weaving around between Max Davies and Heinz Braun, who were trying to get into each other's heads by the looks of it. Braun very close, coming off of turn 7 there, almost too close. Max Davies has held 4th for a long time here now, but might have that taken off him in the next few moments by Heinz Braun, who is 10th place in our standings coming into today. He's also qualified 10th for this race. Be moving up 6 positions if he can get this one done here. This pass done for 4th, and he can indeed. So Heinz Braun moves up to 4th, and all of a sudden it is a 6-driver group all over again. Oh!
Yeah,
Nagel.
and a little wiggle there by Nagel. It's tough to put down the power coming over the rise right there under that bridge. Car can get a little bit loose there if you're not careful, especially late in the race on hot tires. You saw Nagel with a little wiggle there. Didn't completely crash out, but definitely cost him a couple positions. And my goodness, Ivani and Rivera through.
Well, that was maybe contact induced. It was a big save from Nagel, though. And in the end, he slips down to 9th. Maybe the place to be with 3 laps to go, because who knows what can happen in front of him in the next few moments. Let's just see whether there was contact here. He went a little bit deep, almost following Dunkovic. Did he get hit by Rivera? Yes, he did. So, it's a slight touch, and how he saved that while also Rivera and Evenly going past him without crashing themselves, I'm not entirely sure, but that was very well done from everybody. Over the line, meantime, 2 laps to go for Castro and Hawkin. Is there finally going to be movement here on lap 19?
Yeah, here we go. Up turn 1, foot to the floor, in 6th gear, gathering it up to careen down the S's here. The only way to describe flogging one of these SR10s downhill here at Road Atlanta is careening. Try to gather it up again through this very bumpy and hazardous turn 5 off to the side. Castro stretched that gap a little bit in that sequence, but you know, and the thing about Road Atlanta, you can stretch it a little bit in the twisties, but as long as you're within a couple clicks here coming out of turn 7, it is all for naught. That competitor is going to be right back on you by the entry to turn 10. Let's see what happens this time through.
Is there going to be movement this time round? Is Hawkin going to go on the penultimate lap? Is Castro going to try and let him pass? Are there going to be mind games here? Hawkin does pull alongside for the very first time in this race. It's taken 19 laps, but Brandon Hawkin does go through on the inside of that final chicane. Now, has he got a trick up his sleeve to stay in front for this entirety of the final lap?
Boy, Hawkin rolling the dice there. And there is a little smooch by Castro. Not sure what he's doing, tapping him there as they enter that top uphill turn 1. But here we go, final lap. Looking back from Hawkin's car at Castro, the gap about 4/10 right now. And Hawkin daring Castro to keep up with him as he stretches that gap. Can he get out of draft range during this sequence until before they get on the back straight? Crazy stuff right now.
Well, by the way, behind, Heinz Braun has had some trouble in that second group, but that leaves 5 fighting for 4th place. We'll see that at the line here after we've seen these 2 come across the line, but it looks like it's going to be Brandon Hawkin's day again. That mistake from Castro in towards turn 1 might have just lost him this race. It's going to be 4 in a row for Brandon Hawkin if he can hold on here, and unless there's going to be a mighty slipstream for the American, Brandon Hawkin's going to win this into the final chicane. Hawkin is too far in front here for Andre Castro, who will be ruining a last lap mistake here tonight. Out of the final turn, Brandon Hawkin is going to go 4 in a row on Friday nights in the Radical Esports Cup. We've not seen dominance like this for some time. Hawkin wins and Castro slows to the line to finish 2nd in front of James Barry, who's going to finish 4th. Max Davies looks like he might well just hang on here, although it's happening all behind. Dunkovic versus Evenly it is for 5th position, and Evenly gets himself back through again. Davies slowing towards the line, but he just holds on. Heinz Braun ends up 8th, by the way, because dropping down the field on the last lap is Rudolf Nagel, all the way to 14th position for some reason. But in the end, it's Hawkin who wins again. And he's gone 4 in a row now this season. What an extraordinary season he's having.
And my goodness, what brass by Brandon Hawkin. He did not wait to the last lap, makes his move on lap 19, dares Castro to catch him, and Castro can't do it. And Hawkin said, I can pass you, give you a chance to get it back, and you're not going to do it. Hawkin wins. Incredible.
Well, it's 3.5 seconds in the end as Castro just slowed towards the line. James Barry also gets a podium after a rather lonely race. Max Davies holds on to that 4th place in that massive group involving Peter Evenly, who got past Jack Dunkovic at the end there. Fabrizio Rivera as well, and Heinz Braun, who dropped off towards the last lap there in 8th place. Robert Woodward and Juan Perez round out those in the points. Rudolf Nagel, in the end, I think, he was jumping around all over the place on the last lap. I wonder if he did finish 11th. Anyway, this result says he did. Chris Wetz and Ryan Stringer were fighting as well for 12th position. Ola Henrik Gullucks and Pedro Ladri were the last drivers to be on the lead lap. Christopher Yanakis and Kessler Larson did at least get out the pit lane after their crashes. Paki Caruso, Jake Williams and Sully Rettinen did not, sadly, at the end tonight. Well, 4 in a row for Hawkin. As you mentioned, he was sort of made a bet, really, that the others wouldn't, or Castro rather, wouldn't be able to get back past on the last lap, and in the end he was right. Let's chat to him, the race winner from tonight, Brandon Hawkin. Brandon, welcome in. Good to have you with us, and congratulations on a fourth race victory in a row on a Friday night. Just tell us about that last couple of laps there, and how you were planning those final couple of laps to go while you were spending all that time sat behind Andre Castro in that race.
Yeah, I was originally planning on going on the last lap, but it started getting a little bit harder following him there towards the end. He picked up quite a lot of speed there in the second section, and so I was it was kind of like, I don't know, it was kind of like 50-50 whether I'd have enough of a run to be able to get him going into the final chicane. So I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna go and hopefully catches him out in the dirty air. But yeah, so I made the move into the chicane, and then we went to turn 1, and I think he may have just gone a little bit too quick into turn 1, and that kind of or gave me a really nice gap there towards the end. But man, that was that was a really hard race. Andre was super quick, and man, that was it was I mean, good for us, I guess. After the first chicane, we had kind of the track all to ourselves there, and yeah, so I was able to kind of sit back and kind of plan my move there towards the end, but while trying to keep up with them, because that was tough. But man, yeah, really good race from Andre there, and man, yeah, it was a really good race.
Yeah, and a great race to watch. I mean, what were you both thinking? Well, what were you thinking, I should say, after lap number 1 there? Were you expecting this race to be sort of one of those big groups for the race lead, really, and you were just surprised that it was just the two of you at the end of lap 1, or did you think it would thin out?
Yeah, I didn't think it, like, I thought there would be at least like 5 or 6 of us there in a big group, and there probably would have been based on qualifying, because that was like really close. But yeah, there was a wreck there in the first chicane, and then yeah, I saw on the relative there was like a 3.5 second gap. I was like, oh, okay, that's nice. You don't usually get something like that at Road America. So yeah, it was it was a little bit you're able to relax a little bit, and then of course you have the tow a bit, but yeah, you also had to worry about the dirty air up front, so it was yeah, it was still a really difficult race, but definitely took a lot of pressure off there after the crash on lap 1 for sure.
Yeah, congratulations on winning the battle between the two of you at the end there, Brandon. Thanks for chatting to us at the end tonight as well.
Thank you guys, have a good one, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks very much, Brandon Hawkin, chatting to us at the end of that race victory here tonight at Road Atlanta. Second place for Andre Castro, who joins us now as well. Andre, welcome in. Good to have you with us. We were just talking to Brandon there about the final couple of laps and how it all transpired. Where was the key moment for you in that fight?
Just, yeah, I mean, I think I was surprised he passed me with 2 laps to go, because I thought he was going to wait to the last lap, so I was in a perfect spot, and then yeah, just completely soiled it into turn 1, lost track of my braking zone, because I had been leading the whole race. So yeah, the second I got behind someone, I just didn't have my reference, and pretty much soiled the only part of the race that mattered. Like after the start, we had such a gap that it did not matter at all how well we drove, just because we were going to stay in that order pretty much until the end. So it was just waiting. I think we had too much time to think about it. Too much time to think about the last lap, and really, it really did not matter how well I drove until the last lap, and that's when it went wrong. So it's frustrating.
Does that add an extra level of frustration, really? That 18 laps of that race didn't actually really matter, because you didn't do anything to get away in a normal way because of the crash behind you. It did come down to those 2 laps, as you say. You thought it was going to come down to just 1 lap, indeed, at the very end there. Does that add a level of frustration or make no difference?
Yeah, it definitely makes it more frustrating. Yeah, like I said, I thought maybe he would go by in the last lap, so I was kind of trying to see where I could let him by, honestly, on the last lap, and he surprised me by going early. But I mean, that's kind of what I wanted. I wanted to be in second on the last lap, so whatever. Just gotta, I don't know. Good drivers make mistakes, so that's just part of it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thanks for chatting to us, Andre. Congrats on second place again tonight.
Yeah, thank you guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks very much, Andre Castro. Second place here tonight. In the end, we don't have James Barry at the moment, but Ryan Stringer is in there at the moment in 12th place finish. We'll have a quick chat with him before we sign off here tonight. Ryan, welcome in. Good to have you with us for a quick chat. 12th place for you tonight in the end. You were in a group at the end with the likes of Juan Perez, Chris Retz, and there was all sorts of big groups happening towards the end there. Tell us about the end of your race there once it had settled down a bit.
It was a chaos-filled race for me in front. I had a horrible qualifying, and race was just wheel spin and drifted off the start. But come over the crest of T3, and it was chaos. Jumped up a few places. Unluckily, I lost the toe with like Franz and the big battle between 4th and I think it was 9th at the end or 8th. I lost a massive toe there. So yeah, just slowly dropped back and then got behind Juan and Chris and just kept it going. I made a nice little move towards the end for the final chicane, just couldn't keep it stuck. But yeah, interesting race for tonight.
Well, certainly. I mean, I don't know how many other officials races you've been doing this week, but what about that start there? I mean, we know that Road Atlanta's narrow and difficult at the beginning, but that was a huge sort of mess at the start, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, I mean, I'll be fair. I didn't do a single lap until qualifying of driving around here. The last time I drove around here was in MX-5s, so I'd have some good knowledge with the track. Just struggling with finding the limits of the car and qualifying. But yeah, it was really a decent battle after it all settled down. But yeah, it's just a learning curve of going to these off-balance tracks where you one little wheel spins you into the wall, which I think we saw quite often.
Congrats on a good run here tonight, Ryan. Thanks for chatting to us at the end.
Thank you very much.
Thanks very much, Ryan Stringer there also in 12th place. I think Jared Dunkovic is just down there to chat, so I'll leave him be. He's clearly showing Brandon Hawkins something, so I won't interrupt them. But Joe, that was a great finish there. I mean, it just shows the element of surprise, even for some of these top drivers like Andre Castro, Brandon Hawkins, who were fighting for the win there. The element of surprise is not to be underestimated, and it all came down to that one mistake at turn 1 for Andre Castro that he'll be very frustrated with here tonight, but that's the fine margins that can be settled, or that's the fine margins that can settle these races.
And Castro's comment that stuck with me was that he had too long to think about it. He led 18 laps, kind of planning for the end game, thinking about how it was going to go. And when it finally happened, it came a lap earlier than he expected, and it just threw him off. And a tiny error at the pointy end of one of these 5K splits is enough to cost you the victory. So, and again, tip of the hat to Hawken as well. I mean, he took that pass on the second to last lap, gave Castro a chance, said, I dare you to try to get that position back, and Castro couldn't get it done, giving Hawken the victory. So great stuff here, as usual, at Road Atlanta.
Yeah, indeed. We're live, same time, same place every week, by the way, with these races in the Radical Esports Cup. So join us next Friday, 2100 GMT for Silverstone, a Grand Prix circuit to get on our first half of the season complete, by the way. This will be round 6 of 12. So make sure you join us same time, same place. On Sunday night, at about 8:30 Eastern Time, we'll be live with the Radical Sim Racing Americas Championship from Road Atlanta again. So if you enjoyed the kind of racing we saw tonight, then join us again on Sunday. We'll have a race about twice as long for you on RaceSpotTV. That's just about it from us here tonight. I've been Ewan O'Leary alongside Joe Gregory with Ramiro Augustin Cisneros behind the cameras of this RaceSpotTV and iRacing broadcast here tonight from Road Atlanta. We'll see you again in 1 week's time on a Friday night from Silverstone. It's goodbye for now.